the real crew that matter are well at the back, so you can't see their faces, but these are the military personnel who guard it. That's not an ordinary police car. Ministry Defence police cars are exactly the same, but they have a different logo. That is the phased array, which is the only one in the world of its kind. There is no other radar station like that in the world. It's 3 faces. It looks around almost the whole of the globe. And when it had the 50 celebrations, the Red Arrows came and flew over to celebrate. And it used to be an analog display, the 3 golf balls, and then it changed when the Americans went for Star Wars and became the phased array, which is digital. So that's where I got a tour. I had the tour of that. We'll talk about that very quickly. But it's 50 years. I want to show you how things have changed. These are Ministry of Defence police officers guarding a sensitive building some 25 years ago. That's what they look like. Here they are now. That's what they look like now. Like that. That's how your world has changed. Unbelievable. A very interesting weapon. Very interesting weapon. That was it a number of years ago. Yes, this is the control room, which we went into. In those days, look, there's even a fish tank. Right? But I'll tell you what is interesting. I'm going to move now, sorry. It says here something along how many objects in space. And there's something like 4,000 being tracked. 4,000 being tracked. And this is 30 years ago. You can see the equipment. Let's have a look at it now. It's very hard to get pictures of this base. Look how it's changed. And people will say, well, where's all the big computers? It's a separate room. The computer room is a separate room. Now, you will find this hard to believe, but one of my neighbours actually works there. I won't give too much away, but he actually works on the computer room. And he's a neighbour, and we often chat about it. This is a staged picture for the press, but it's genuine actions. When a UFO is contacted, the guy who's in charge there is asking, I've got one contact. I can get it as well, because I've made contact and I'm on the phone, the hotline, and they have also got it. I am coordinating these two and I can confirm we have a contact. Okay, that's how they work out. What you don't see in any of these pictures is the secret part. I'm going to tell you where it is. Here is where the Americans are. This is a locked door, and when they have a UFO sighting, the Americans press a code which opens the door. These guys then take their orders from the Americans. So it is called RAF Fylingdales, but it is run by the Americans. Okay, and during my visit, we should have been there for an hour. We were there for 3 hours. And at the end of the visit, the guy running it said, okay, well, we've got some things to give out. And he opened a tin, and there was the pencils and the rubbers and the little trinkets. Great if you're running a scout club, because you've got those things to fundraise or give away. I wasn't really interested in that, pen fobs and that. But in the back of this case were all the trophies that they'd won. So they have different sports teams. And on the side were medals celebrating this very special occasion of 50 years. And I said, oh, they're nice, aren't they? And he said, yes, they are nice. He said, I can't give one to you. He said, because we present them. We've only got 500. It's a limited number of 500. And we give them to people, generals and dignitaries who come to visit us, and we've got to make them last the whole year. I can't give them to you. He said, anyway, we don't give them away. They have to make a contribution. So I said, oh, what sort of contribution? He said, he said, they cost us £25 to make, but we take a tenner, and it sort of goes back to it. But, they're very special. And I said to him, well, I was standing with 2 people. One was an ex-soldier, and one was an ex-RAF. And I said to him, well, couldn't you present one to me? And these 2 guffawed, laughed. And the guy said, I don't see why not. So I haven't got any money, because I had to give everything at the guard, but my daughter, who's much more bright than I am, had hidden some money down a sock. So I said, got any money? He got a tenner. So he gave me £10, gave him the 10, and he said, the Americans insist I take your name. I said, you know my name? He said, yes, I know, but for officialdom. Gave him my name. He said, right, well, everyone has a number on this medal. and I have to write your name next to the medal number. You cannot sell this. You can only pass it down to your members of the family. I brought it tonight to show you if you're interested. And the funny thing was that the other two guys both took out their £10 notes for one, and he just locked everything up, put it away in the case, and said, well, ladies and gentlemen, I think we need to go. Sergeant, if you take the front, I'll take the rear. And these two guys with their £10 notes there. And I brought it for you tonight. It's really lovely. It's got the radar base on the back, and it says 50 years of vigilance, and there's the phased array, and on that side it says number 86 out of 500. And so I was presented it. So this is what the media and others can't understand. How is it that someone who claims that his parents were in the security service, sees aliens, can have a tour of a base and be treated like that? And this is what's made those people who want to make a fool out of me suddenly back off. And why, unfortunately, for many ways, the foreign press is all over me now. It's such a shame. This is not my picture, it was sent to me. Orbs. I often get asked, what are the orbs? And I don't mean the orbs that make the crop circles. I'm talking about these orbs. And twice now during Skype sessions, a person has sort of gone, oh my God, what's that behind you? And of course, I invariably look the wrong way. And orbs are the consciousness of another entity entering the third dimension, I beg your pardon, our third dimension, simply because we're more dense. And when you project pure consciousness into a denser form, it will make it into a circle. So somebody is popping in and observing. It's not like a jinn or anything like that. That's somebody of a higher being zooming in, using his or her consciousness to come and visit you. So if you have orbs, somebody is taking an interest in you. Okay? And that's a genuine picture. It's not a lens flare, that is an orb. And you can see them because they are manifest in a 3D world. Sometimes people won't see things, but the camera will, and that's because it's phasing in and out between third and fourth dimension. Genuine, you've all seen it, but I just want to say that is a genuine craft. I'm not saying that's an alien craft. If we expect a false flag alien invasion, these are the craft that will be used. These are first generation back-engineered craft. They're grey, small grey, not tall grey. And these, if they're going to try and do a false flag, these are the craft they'll use. Okay, so just be aware of that. This is sent to me, it's on the internet now. I published it and everyone's got it on the internet. This is a picture sent to me of an alien coming down an ordinary stairway from an aircraft, having a high-ranking meeting with somebody in the States. And it's taken on a very, very long photo lens, specially adapted for nighttime. It's been enhanced. And it's available now, you just get it on the internet, because why do we keep things secret? On the left-hand side, a artist's rendition of a lion being. I don't want you to think of a lion in a zoo, that's the name they're given, because their ears are about ½ an inch higher up than ours. Very human. Along the face, look like a bit like a red Indian sometimes. And this is a drawing from the book. And on the right-hand side is my drawing of what I've seen. And the being makes a sign, which is a Illuminati sign, but it's the sign of the Great Pyramid. And these beings had a very important hand in the building of the Great Pyramid. We haven't got time to talk about the races, but perhaps next time I might. Our talk is drawing to a close. I can't say goodbye without talking about the birthday card and the interview. You may have seen the interview. I was on the morning breakfast TV show last year with Philip Schofield and Holland Willoughby. For small groups who are starting up, I don't charge. I only charge my fuel. For a bigger group like yours, I do charge something. But for the private sector, I make them pay. If they want me up, then they pay for it because they can afford to. It's the people's money, let's get it back. But for small groups, any group under sort of 30, I don't charge. I go all over the country and I don't charge them. I only say pay my petrol because it shouldn't be about making money, really. Anyway, these people really wanted me and they paid me £500 for 20 minutes. That's how much they wanted me. And I thought it was a good chance because this was one of the largest viewed television programs in England. And it would be a great chance to get my story out without somebody, trying to make it difficult. I arrived at the studio and I was asked to do some drawings of the aliens. They wanted to put them up. I had 2 drawings, of course, Mum and Dad. The woman who was with me said they hadn't a clue what they were. I told her, took them away, came back and said, we are not allowed to show the reptilian drawing, but we can show the other one. That should be a very interesting point for you. The interview itself was excellent in the sense that Philip Schofield is an incredibly intelligent man. He understood about souls, he understood about Eastern religions, a very, very intelligent man. Holly Willoughby was perfectly fine. The interview was very interesting because I attacked a senior Conservative politician who had attacked me earlier. And when I got back home, I had a phone call from the Labour Party saying, next time you're going to attack a senior Tory politician, for God's sake tell us so we can have the press boys ready. And that's me being interviewed, Schofield, Holly Willoughby, and the drawing of Mum, but they wouldn't put up a reptile, because that's just too near the truth in terms of power and influence. And now I'm told that I'm not going to be interviewed anymore by radio stations because I keep getting the better of them. Although Philip Schofield asked me to go back, about 3 weeks after that, he insisted that I go back for another interview, and I just couldn't do it because I was working in a school, and my constituents come first. And so I said, no, I'm sorry, I can't do it, I have a prior engagement. But Philip Schofield was very interested. But I don't really get many interviews now in Britain because I don't come across the way they want. They want a raving madman. It doesn't work like that. So they can't handle it, so they don't want it. You're all familiar, hopefully, with the birthday card. I have brought it along for anybody who hasn't seen it. This is the birthday card that has my picture on it, although I have no memory of being on it. And whoever was sitting next to me has been airbrushed out and a big teddy bear put in there. Who in their right mind would buy a birthday card that said Sir Geoffrey was about to discover that bears don't just in the woods? And the story is that I was in a shop called Card Factory, and my wife was buying discounted wrapping paper in January, as you do, and I turned, and on the carousel was these pictures. You know the story because you've checked it out on the internet, and I'm sure you're familiar with it. But what I have done tonight, and not only have I brought the card, but I've brought my ID badge when I was a Labour councillor in London at the same time, because I have the same shirt on. Because people say to me, how do you know that's you? And I said, well, of course it's me, but prove it. Well, I have a picture here with the same shirt on, and when I was meeting a Tory government minister, always meet these people, I have the same shirt on. I don't have the same tie, unfortunately, so I brought that along to show you. What's that about? The camera is not through the window, that's a hidden camera in the footwell looking up. And this has been placed here by the security services to say, either we know what you're up to, I wish they'd tell me, because I don't, or you did a good job. I haven't a clue. Okay, so there were only 5 or 6 of these cards made, literally, and the only store that they were distributed in was the store where I live. So there was only 5 or 6 of them, and they only went to the store. And the managing director of the Card Factory, who managed the store where they were in, said to me, well, we've pulled them now anyway. And I said to him, well, is that because I made a complaint? He said, no, he said they were a test run. I said, well, how many have you done? Thinking they'd done thousands. And he said, well, we did, I think it's 5 or 6. I said, if you only made 5 or 6, how do you know whether it's going to sell well if you've only done 5 or 6? His answer was, I'm only the managing director. That's honestly his reply. I said, you're telling me you only made 5 or 6, and which store did you put them in? Your store. So, I think that says a lot. I went to the press because I thought, I want pressure on the company. The company who hold the copyright are in America, what a surprise. I contacted them, and they said to me that the name for this person in the card is not the same name as me. So I said to him, you're telling me that's not me then? And the response was very telling. Oh no, Mr. Parks, we're not saying that's not you, but the name we've got for this person is not yours. To which I said, what are you going to do about it? And the reply was nothing, because English law doesn't touch us. So because of that, I went to the newspapers. I wanted the media to phone the company, which they did. And the editor of the Whitby Gazette then, John Stokoe was his name, phoned me at home and said, we've researched you, Simon, and I'm convinced your story is genuine. I've been to the other side and they are just saying no comment. Do you want me to make this national? Because he said, I can. We can make a big story out of this. And I said, no, because this is security service stuff. And he said, you might be right. And I just thought I'd end with a tall grey, because we don't really hear about tall greys very much. There's a tall grey, very nice creature, very happy. Some tall greys are horrible. This particular one was very nice. I ended up being upset because it just wanted to observe me. I felt like an animal in the zoo. It didn't want to come and show me anything or discuss anything with me. It's what the Americans call coupon day. He had got the coupon to come and see me and have a chat with me. So that's it. That's the end of it. So thank you very much indeed. If you've got any questions, I'm more than happy to take them. I'm happy, if it's a personal nature, to exchange emails. But if there's any general questions now, I'd be really delighted to take them. Hi.
A lot of what's been covered recently, I've been looking at, is the star Sirius in Orion's belt. What has that got to do with this experience?
If you were fortunate enough to actually go, not so much to the pyramid, but to some of the temples that contain the real burials of the pharaohs, you will find around that time, allegedly, lots of figures which Egyptologists claim to be men with masks on. From Sirius A, you will find beings that are portrayed with cat faces. Very, very prevalent with the building of the pyramids. What we would call the lion people, for want of a better word, originated from Orion, one of the Orion planets. Orion's very important, as is Sirius, because there's a very big star portal, stargate there. The race divided, and one group went to one of the Sirius planets, and we would refer to those as the cat people. But they have a name, and their proper name is Kilroti. Kilroti. The Kilroti, the ones that worked with the priesthood to organise and build the pyramids. I personally don't accept the pyramids are only 5,000 years old. Okay? As a geologist, I would say you're looking at between 15 and 20,000 years. So I hope that's of some help to you. I haven't gone into huge detail about it because we haven't got the time. If you've seen the Channel 4 documentary, then you know all about the cat people, and I'm quite happy at a later date to talk about it, but we're on questions. Thank you. Anybody else? Hi.
Do you have any comment to make on animal mutilations?
There were two very prevalent guys who investigated them, both in Wales and in other parts of the country. And they have some very interesting pictures of cattle actually being lifted up. The only device that you could take an eye out or take a tongue out would be with a laser beam. Some of the greys have what you'd call Harry Potter style a wand, which is a self-defense weapon. In fact, from the Roswell crash, they collected, that's where your laser beams come from. And it is a laser that's used to cut them out. They are using or taking parts. Some parts, glands, can be interchangeable with humans. However, the Black Ops, the military, are also taking cattle to throw interest off and to create a smokescreen. It's a contentious issue, and a number of researchers who have gone down that road have found that they attract an awful lot of attention. Okay. Anybody else? Gentleman in the back. Hey. If I was, and I'm not, if I was a member of the Illuminati, I would be very worried at the way things were going, because it was looking more and more unlikely that my New World Order was going to come to fruition.